You're welcome back. Our next guest was just 6 months old when the soles of her feet began to blister and her leg developed an infection that wouldn't actually heal.
Kate Cogan was brought to Castlebar Hospital before being transferred to Crumlin Children's Hospital, where she was diagnosed with the condition EB, commonly known as butterfly skin.
It's estimated that EB affects 1 in 17,000 births worldwide, and Kate is here this morning to share her story along with Deirdre Callis, Head of Family Support at Deborah. You're both very welcome to the show this morning. Kate, thank you so much for joining us, because I know you just finished your prees or your mocks, whatever they're called these days, so you've had a busy time of it. Tell us when you were first diagnosed and what your story with EB is.
So I was 6 months old and I was first diagnosed by my family GP. He referred us to Crumlin, which is where I was actually diagnosed with EB. From then on, really, it's been a daily battle for me. Yeah.
Okay, how did it impact you, though, as you were growing up?
Well, as I was younger, I couldn't play sports in schools, stuff like that. You know, I had to go to school with padding everywhere that EB was affecting me. You know, when you're younger, you're clumsy, you fall on the yard and stuff, and it was quite painful. Kids would point it out and stuff like that, so you know.
For those who may not be aware of EB, what is it and what does it do to your skin?
So the way I explain it is my skin is weaker than the average person's skin. So where you'd hit yourself and probably get a bruise, I would get a cut or a blister.
And does it spread? Does it require a lot of treatment and bandages and antibiotics and that sort of thing?
When my skin is bad, yeah, the bandaging would be quite intensive. Creams like the Inside Gel and Sudocrem, stuff like that.
I'm thinking of, you know, as a child you were diagnosed with this and you went through primary school, but then you get into your teenage years. You're still in your teenage years, you have to point out, because you're getting set for leaving cert. And that's when a lot of growing up is done. So has it tested that?
Definitely, yeah. So my teenage years, I went to boarding school from first year on. I'm still in boarding school. But, you know, it was kind of going into a phase where mum and dad stopped bandaging me and it was my responsibility now, you know, because I was away from them Monday to Friday. And it kind of became, I wanted to ignore it, and I had pretty much through my childhood, you know, I wanted to fit in to a normal life as much as I could. You know, my life is 70-80% normal, but through my teenage years, it was about recognising the 30-20% that needed extra care, extra attention.
So were you wearing long sleeve clothes?
Lots of time, yeah. I wanted to hide my scars, wanted to hide it all. Yeah.
Deirdre, EB, it varies in severity.
It does,
I mean, I would never know by looking at you that you had this condition, but it can go from, it presents itself quite seriously as well in some instances.
Yeah, so it's a genetic condition and it's generally passed on from parent to child, but we have seen over the last few years as well more spontaneous mutations. And I suppose, what does that mean? That means that there's actually no genetic link to the parent. It's a new mutation within the family. It does range in severity, anything from life-altering to life-limiting. So you will have, as Kate has here, localised blistering localised on the hands and the feet, but that can be widespread. It can be in the throat, the eyes, the ears, the esophagus, internally and externally. Yeah,
I know. I've spoken to many people over the years. Good friends of mine now. I like to think of them, and it's like esophageal. The blisters can be, and you swallow as well in your internal passages, and it can be hugely life-limiting, life-threatening. Yeah. There's
different types of EB. So you know there is the type that Kate's living with, and that's life-altering, and she's described beautifully there the impact that has had on her as a child and as a teenager, and I've no doubt she's representing loads of people across the country who's similar experience. But then you have very severe types of EB as well. Junctional EB severe, babies die in infancy, so the youngest little baby I would have known would be 11 days, and I've had some beautiful hugs of beautiful babies that are no longer with us, and that's the most severe. And then you have recessive dystrophic EB, which is the severe type as well, which you probably are familiar with.
The butterfly is the end for a reason, because the skin can be as sensitive as a butterfly.
As fragile, it's a skin fragility condition. And
even touching it in some instances can cause a blister.
Absolutely.
And that's how severe it can be.
Absolutely.
Okay. So what are the treatments?
So right now, the only treatment is the medical management of it. So it's the wound management, it's the pain management, it's the itch management, and the psychological management. There is kind of exciting news on the horizon. There is some gene therapy available. It's currently only available in America, but we are hopeful that we will get that treatment available in Ireland over the next few years, and families can access it.
People have to make noise for it to become available
here. They do, yeah. Every treatment is really, really expensive. So it's going through a process now whereby we're trying to get it approved in Ireland and in Europe, and hopefully in the next few years that'll become available to families. But EB is so complex that'll only treat one type of EB.
Right.
So many different types.
Yeah. So, but it's a start. It's a building block.
Okay.
And now you're facing into your leaving. The next big hurdle, I would imagine, is going to be college for you.
Yeah.
Are you nervous about that at all?
For college, I suppose it's always nerve-wracking meeting new people. You know, it's starting explaining what my skin is. You know, because it is noticeable. Say where I wouldn't be wearing like longer sleeves and long clothes, etc. But you know, it is nerve-wracking explaining what my skin condition is to new people. They don't really get it. They see it and they think it's eczema. You know, explaining that it's not that, and that, you know, it does actually impact my life quite seriously.
Okay. Yeah. I'm thinking, right, come June, you're doing your Leaving Cert.
Yeah.
What has become very, very popular, because I've been through a few Leaving Certs in our house, is the Leaving Cert holiday. Yeah. So is that something that you will look forward to, or will there be a little bit of trepidation about it?
I suppose, you know, it's always a worry, like, you know, there's packed places and stuff like that. Yeah. It's quite...
I'm just thinking of the looks that people may give you.
Yeah.
That will make you feel
they do, yeah. You know, especially like when I don't have... If I'm wearing like skirts or dresses and stuff and my scars are out, I feel uneasy and uncomfortable, because people do stare. It's, you know, fair enough, they are going to stare.
Yeah. But you've had to develop quite a strong resilience, I would imagine, over the years.
Yeah, definitely.
How do you do that?
I suppose learning coping mechanisms for yourself. You know, it's only been in the last 2 years that I've really kind of dealt with it in a positive way. Like, you know, I battled with my mental health an awful lot in my early teenage years. I suppose a lot of it rooted from my skin condition and, you know, self-image and stuff like that.
And they're really difficult years for a teenage girl anyway, never mind having to have that on top of it all. I mean, what is your support structure like? I know your family are here, they seem, they're gassed, they're over there having great old crack looking on.
Over the Leaving Cert holiday.
Yeah, but your friends' network as well, what's that like for you?
So in my teenage years, I've actually been very lucky. You know, my friends have always been very supportive. Once I've explained what it is and stuff, you know, they've always been very supportive. If there's a night out that I didn't want to go on and stuff like that, there was never any, you know, kind of judginess of that or anything. But yeah, no, I have been quite lucky with my teenage years with my friends. You know, I've changed school a few times and it's been quite nerve-wracking for me, but I've always been put at ease. Yeah.
And what about the support within Deborah Ireland? Because I know it's an amazing organisation. It must be helpful to speak to other, because you don't know unless you're actually living with
definitely.
it.
Deborah has always been an amazing support system for me. Like, you know, it's grand having your family and stuff and your friends, but none of them actually have EB. So it's lovely to have a system there that know what having EB is like and meeting other people with it.
Actually, I know that we've had a couple of people on the show before, Emma and Claudia, actually. And Claudia actually did my makeup once on the old show, the midday show, actually, one day she was on work experience with us. So you can actually have a full and fulfilling life as well. And that's what Deborah's about.
One of the things I loved when I was reading about you was how you've accepted. This is you. This is part of you. But you describe how your parents must have felt when they brought you to Crumlin the first time. And now, as a teenager, how on a visit to the same hospital you saw a couple with a baby.
Yeah, so basically I never really wanted to share my story. I was quite shy about it. Didn't really want the attention from it, but recently in August, I think, I was in for my yearly checkup, and I seen this young couple in the waiting room with a baby about 6 months old, and they looked terrified. Absolutely terrified. And I was like, you know, that was my parents, and I'm sure like loads of people share their stories with Deborah and everything, and I was like, you know what, maybe mine might touch someone. So
give them hope.
Yeah, give them hope,
Because when, as a parent, if you're told something like this, you don't know what you're facing into, and you start mourning for the child and the life that you were hoping for them.
Absolutely, it's huge. And I suppose our job is just to help families integrate EB into their lives. And that takes time. That takes time, so we're there to listen. Every home visit, every call, we're always doing an assessment of need to see where is the need here, where is the need to allow this family to integrate EB into their lives, and what is the obstacle. And we work with the family then on removing those obstacles, so that that could be funding, that could be counselling, that might be a longer term project that, you know, involves more stakeholders. So it's our job to listen and then to build a kind of a care plan around that.
Absolutely amazing the work you do.
Thanks
Absolutely
a million.
amazing.
Thanks a million for having us.
So much for joining us on the show.
Good luck with the leaving cert.
Good luck with the leaving.
Thank you.
Good luck with the holiday. If they let you go, we shall now go on our leaving cert holiday. We'll say no more about that now.
It's like a panel of judges.
Anyway, for more information on EB and the resources available for those that have it and their families, please do visit Deborah.ie.
We'll take a quick break. Stay with us. We'll be back with you in just a couple of minutes.